Ag Solutions Group product knowledge segment today is about the John Blue VisaGage and Blockage Monitor for your planter or liquid side dress applicator. Let's be more precise, let's monitor it, let's keep track of what we're doing. Let's talk John Blue. Welcome to today's Ag Solutions Group's product knowledge segment, where we're going to talk about the John Blue VisaGage system and the monitoring system that they have for it as well. We've always referred to these flow indicators as red balls. That's exactly the scenario that we're looking at here, but CDS John Blue has taken it to the next level, improved the product, more applicable, as well as the blockage monitor system to use for today's technology and the level of accuracy that we're trying to achieve. When you think about this and what we've done, I've plumbed together an 8-row scenario here. When you buy them in blocks of 4. You can buy individual ones if you need to service one or one's broke, but blocks of 4. I've plumbed in a T here with a pressure gauge to where this is where your product would come in. You can also take the cap off here and plumb it to where the manifold is fed from one end. But we want to make real sure that we're feeding it as evenly as possible to get the best flow and the most accurate and even flow through each manifold. So you could put, if we had a 16-row planter, this is section 2, we can have one over here on the left side of the planter for section 1, and we could have as many rows as we need on this manifold, depending upon how we want to plumb it. Very compatible. But let's think about this. This indicator is a monitoring system. It's not affecting flow whatsoever. So you still want a check valve in there. You still want to put a cap on there with an orifice in there, or with the newer stuff if you're doing a high-speed planter and you want to do variable rate, or just dependent upon as you speed up or slow down with that high-speed planter. We have products now, instead of a standard orifice that gives you a very small range of pressure and travel speed, we have a variable rate orifice cap that gives you a bigger range as to how fast you drive. So to my point, this is a monitoring system. We still need inline of your planter or liquid side dress applicator, whichever you would put this product on, you still need something to control the flow and the rate that you're doing on every row. What John Blue has done is they've taken, and I've illustrated it here, they've taken your individual row VisaGages. I've plumbed this one in to have a 90-degree angle on top with the hose barb. You can also change these top caps out with a push-pull locking air line system like that. But what I've done is I've plumbed it up here and I've run a scenario. This is the blockage monitor system that John Blue has added to the VisaGage system. As you can see here, this is the module that you would put behind all the row flow indicators. And what I'm going to do here is illustrate a blocked row and help us understand what this does for us now in the cab. I've got my iPad set up here that I would have in the cab. You can also wire it into the ISO system of the tractor so it can be running as one of the ISO screens on your armrest console. Or you can go a very cheap route and get a little monitor that kind of clamps to the window with the suction cup to give you an alarm to say you have a blocked row. But how many times are we turning around watching these balls float? We see one down, but it's so far away. Was that row number 5 or 6, or which row was it? That's what this monitor system is going to do. It's a very economical way to monitor the flow of every row. The other thing we don't have to worry about, we're not worried about impellers getting plugged or stuck with heavy product or clay-based product, or if we let it sit overnight and then we go back the next morning or after a 4-day rain, we don't have impellers, we have nothing physically moving monitoring this. How it's working is, as those balls float up, I'm going to turn the test stand on. As those balls float up, float in the liquid, what it's doing, those flow balls are magnetic. So with this module mounted behind, those flow balls are being read of their magnetic on each row as to how each row is doing on the flow. Again, we're not plugging impellers, we don't have physical things moving. We're letting the product go through as it should, not restricting it, and monitoring it very effectively with the CDS John Blue flow system, blockage monitor flow system. So if this is the machine running into my cab, I have my iPad mounted, and the first thing you're going to say is, on my iPad, I already have my Climate Field View cab app running with my 2020 to monitor singulation and downflow and all that. You're exactly right. The iPad can handle multiple apps running at the same time. So once you get started in the morning, get your planner going, get this turned on, and what it's going to do, it's going to run in the background so you can continue to watch your 2020 and your planner operate. But if you get a plugged row, it's going to give you an audible alarm that you can switch your app to the CDS John Blue app and understand what's going on in your planner. So what you do is through a Wi-Fi, it is again sending a Wi-Fi signal to your iPad. So you need an iPad with a data plan, just like you do with Climate anyways, and the Field View app. But the Wi-Fi signal is coming to the iPad. The iPad is running in the cab, so you don't have to turn around and figure out which row is blocked or constantly monitoring the flow balls as to if they're all equal. What you're going to do is you're going to have this bar graph. I've just got, again, a 4-row display. If you have a 16, 32, 36, whatever number row planter or side dresser, you're going to have that many line graphs, one for every row, showing you if you have a blockage or not. We have these balls floating in here at about a level 5. The other thing to think about, depending upon what product that you're running, whether it's water or 32 or starter fertilizer, it's going to be a different weighted ball for each product. Because of the density of the product and the weight of the ball, you want those balls to float appropriately so you can see them floating. So look in your instructions that you get with it and choose the right ball for which product you're going to be running. You're going through the field, one of the balls start to float down. When does it trigger us? How does it know? When does it know to give us an alarm? First thing we got to do is set our threshold level. These balls are floating at about a 5. We want to go to our app and set our threshold level about 2 points down from where our balls are floating. So as you can see on the line graph there, that line across can be moved for our threshold. And what that threshold does is when one row becomes blocked or restricted and it falls below that threshold line, that's when it's going to give us the alarm. So again, this is set up for the balls floating at about 5. I've got my threshold set at 3. There's only one more setting we need to look at. Audible alarm delay. How many seconds after a row falls below our threshold line do we want the alarm to go off on the iPad or on the ISO screen? How many seconds below it falls below that line? I usually set it at about a 1 because if I plug, I want to know now it's plugged so I can keep my auto steer, keep my planner going, but I want to start investigating as I look back at my planner. Do I have a line squirting off somewhere, having a problem? Can I see what's plugged? Maybe my whole row unit is plugged. That's what I'm going to be looking at here. This is a row number 3 to where I'm having a problem. I'm simulating a problem. My row 3 fell below the line and gave me a blockage alarm saying, hey, you have a problem. I'm going to restrict row number 1 here pretty hard and make it as a total block. Row number 1 is going to drop below that threshold level. It's going to give me an alarm 1 second after it falls below that line and tell me visually, I don't have to turn around and find which ball isn't floating. I can look at my iPad, I can look at my ISO screen and know. I can silence the alarm because the alarm's getting annoying now, it got my attention, but also what I can do is I can push pause, so that way, a lot of times when you stop in the middle of the field and then start again with the planner, you leave a little bit of a gap. I can push pause, I can continue planting to the end of the field, and when I get to the end of the field, I remember it's row number 1 because I've pretty much locked my screen on row number 1 telling me, you know what, let's go look at row number 1. You can also see here, back on the planter, we have these lights. Also flashing is row number 1. It's going to continue to flash. I'm going to unblock it now. It's going to continue to flash until that ball gets back up in normal range. I'm going to press resume on my iPad for it to go back to normal monitoring. You can see my lights not flashing no more. You can see row number 1 is coming back above that threshold line. letting me know we're back in operation, everything's working good. So as you can see, when it comes to technology and us monitoring these things now, we strive for perfection as for how far apart we put our seed, how deep we put it, what kind of downforce, how we're closing that trench. We want to achieve the same results with our starter fertilizer or ammonium thiosulfate or 32% that we're putting 2x2 or 2x2x2 or out the back of our planter. As well, this is a system that can be used on an air seeder with a liquid system. It can be used on a liquid side dress applicator. Again, for anything we want to monitor row by row of the flow being accurate going out every row. Let us help you today at Ag Solutions Group. Let us price you a system, very economical. Let us service it. Let us help you set it up on your planter or side dresser or air seeder. Ag Solutions Group is here to help you be more efficient and more profitable in your operation. Thank you for watching today's product knowledge segment. Keep watching our YouTube channel for many more products and information to come that'll help your operation. Thank you.